What if you could build a thriving business, even if you had zero experience? Well, today we're uncovering the secrets behind franchising success and how systems, scaling, and the right mindset can change everything.
Welcome to Fortify Live with your host, Ford Saeks.
Today I'm joined by Ryan Wimpey, the founder of Tip Top Canine, a thriving dog training franchise. Now, what's incredible about Ryan's story is that many of his franchisees started with no experience, no background in business, and no experience training dogs. So Ryan, welcome to the show. We talked briefly in the green room, but tell us a little bit about how you got started in this and why this became a passion of yours.
Yeah, Ford, thanks for having me on, man. So I got started because I had a dog with issues. Shocker, right? So I had this dog. I rescued him off the side of the road. His name was Curly. He was this scruffy little mutt thing. And he would literally bark for hours. He anxiety peed everywhere. He would hide. He would pull on the leash and choke himself nonstop. He was also a little bit aggressive if you tried to grab him or anything. He had all these issues, but he was treat trainable. But I didn't fix any of the aggression, the anxiety, the potty training, the running away. If we went outside, he just didn't listen at all. And it was really impacting my relationships with roommates and neighbors because we were in 18 years ago, I was in an apartment. So it just got me obsessed with dog training, looking to see what's out there. Eventually came across kind of what we do now as our classical conditioning based training, as opposed to reward or punishment based training. We use a classical conditioning method. And it works regardless of the dog's issues. And as far as for pet obedience, it's very transferable. I can teach basically anyone to do it. So that's in a nutshell, quickly, that's kind of our story.
Well, we've got listeners right now all over the world. We're live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and a few other places. And then the audio of this becomes the Business Growth Show podcast. So if you joined the episode late, it's Ryan Wimpey. He's the founder and CEO of TipTalkCanine.com. So you can check him out online. Now, I have a dog, so it's got a lot of energy. I have a Labradoodle. Now, don't worry. This episode is about business. But I want to get back to this dog thing for a moment because, millions of people in America have dogs.
Yeah.
So my dog listens real well. I had her trained. She's great. But she won't go outside without me going outside to go pee. I made her codependent. Yeah. And so give me a tip. How can I do that if I leave her out there, she'll bark for a little bit and then she'll go potty. But most of the time I have to go out there with her.
Yeah. Ford, here's your linear workflow. All right. So day one, wherever her potty spot is, you go all the way out there with her, right? You do that for the first 3 days. Day 4, you go 90% of the way. You encourage her to go that last 5, maybe only go 95% of the way. You encourage her to go that last little bit. You slowly, every few days, just inch your way back to the door. Now, the dog has to have their potty spot first, right? But then every few days, you slowly cut back how far you're going and encourage the dog to go to that potty spot.
That makes so much more sense.
3 weeks later, you open the front door, encourage him to go. Boom, there we go.
Well, that's fantastic because I know that's not what we first were going to talk about today. But all right, so tell me about your franchise. How many franchisees do you have now?
Yeah, we have 24 units currently. 20 are active, and 4 are opening in first quarter next year.
And what have you found exciting? Like when you had the concept and then you went to franchise, because you've been doing this for several years now. What was some of the lessons you learned in scaling? Because I know scaling's not easy. I mean, there's a magic sweet spot around 25 and then around 50 and 100, and then over 100, it becomes a whole different dynamic. But for you growing this, what were some of the initial challenges and how did you overcome them?
The initial challenge was basically our market. So the people who want to own a dog training franchise, it's not the same owner that would own like a Jimmy John's or a Subway or something like that. They don't have a giant net worth, right? They're looking to basically own a very high paying, fun, emotionally rewarding job that they can then move into manager and owner, right? The owner role or multi-unit owner. So what we ended up, our issues in the beginning was really a threefold. One, really for a service-based business, a lot of them like maids, housekeeping, pest control, they all have call centers, but no dog trainers really do. Right. True. Most dog trainers are answering their own phone while they're at appointments. That's what I did in the early days. And you can't grow a big business like that. So we have a call center right now. Our building, I'm on the second floor, and it's a full call center that services all open 20 units right now.
So that's
Second,
good.
yeah. We also do all the billing. So for all the payments, again, you have dog trainers out there with people on payment plans. They're not going to be doing good at answering the phone or the billing. And then third and fourth, marketing. We do all the marketing for people. I heard your last guest was a franchise marketing company. Sounds just like the two companies that we work with, right? Sound a real sharp dude. So we do the marketing because, again, people that are drawn to dog training, they're probably not going to understand AdWords, right? They're probably not going to want to deep dive SEO. And then fourth, just a normal franchise thing is the product support, making sure they don't have to order their own flyers, their own hats, their own anything. So we're doing those and then teaching them how to do consultations, train dogs, and train humans.
All right. So of your 20, so I'm going to play devil's advocate for a little bit on this. So I've been in franchising now for 34 years. As a keynote speaker and franchise consultant and advisor, I'm on the board of a few franchise brands, and I was a franchisor and a franchisee. So I've kind of covered the gamut. And all that really means is the more I've learned, the more I know I don't know, right? I mean, so while I'm very opinionated, I know I don't know a lot. Now, one of the reasons that brands bring me in is because the franchisee has to be responsible for their local territory marketing as opposed to the national brand. But in your case, with 24 locations, it wouldn't make any sense to spend a ton of money on national advertising because you don't have locations in all those different cities. So what are some of the marketing things that you do have them do? Even though you give them all the tools and resources, are you encouraging them to network in the community or what? I'm just curious what you're doing at the local level.
Yeah. So at the local level, we really have two main focuses. One is meet and greets and lunch and learn with vets and groomers. So like I run a location in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so my guys go out once a month. They take either cookies or mini donuts to the vets and groomers. I think there's like 54 in our local area that they go to. And then they also set up lunch and learns. So the last one I shadowed, one of my top guys, he goes out and is one of the biggest veterinary clinics here. So there's 25 vets and techs, and he's literally giving a 30-minute lunch and learn on this is how we do everything. That's the biggest one because, like, if I can get the vet referral, that's basically like a doctor referral.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I wrote a book called Accelerate. It's the ultimate guide for franchisees to dominate local marketing and boost sales. Shameless plug. It's my own show. I can do that. But in that, what I call that is fusion marketing and referral marketing, where you really identify your center of influence. Like in your case, you went to the vets and the groomers. I actually had a CEO of a different franchise brand, Scenthound, who I became a customer of, and I actually take my dog. I have a subscription, so I go every month, and they have a recurring model, right? So they ding my credit card every month, and I bring my dog in there. She gets her teeth cleaned, her eyes, nose, ears, and butt, all the different things that they check, and takes care of my dog. So it's a very minor experience or minor expense to maximize the life of my dog. Now, for the dog training part, I didn't have one of your franchisees locally, so I ended up going to a boarding place where they do dog training, and I invested, I think it was $3,500 but I actually dropped her off for like 2 weeks and then came back and picked her up. Now she came back a completely different dog. Like, but the Slabradoodle, she's smart as hell. So like if I'm putting on my shoes, she knows, okay, she's going to go into the bathroom. I mean, she knows. But going back to the centers of influence thing, because I got a little brain fart there for a second. So you've got vets and you've got dog groomers. And so for those of you listening, one of the things I want you to do as an action step is think about who else reaches your customers and how can you build relationships. So congratulations. First thing I would have said was do lunch and learns. That's great. Do you have any virtual training that they can then use? I'm just curious if from an idea standpoint, have you recorded any of those things so that maybe when they can't do a lunch and learn, the vets and the groomers can watch them?
We haven't done that. We really try to get in there.
Right.
We really try to get in there because then also at the lunch and learns, we offer a pretty hefty discount for those vets and vet techs because we want to put our hands on their dogs and we want that relationship because if we can get it. So some of them take years too. So some of them, one in our local areas, they ate our cookies and threw our flyers away for probably 3-4 years.
Yep.
And then during COVID, his other 2 trainers dropped him. He couldn't schedule with the 2 people he'd recommended. We'd called on him for 3-4 years. No one's going during COVID, and we're dropping off cookies in the middle of COVID. And he signed up. One of our managers went out, trained his dog, and we sell 90% of who he refers to us because it's the doctor's referral.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that anything you can do to stay top of mind. I've built multiple companies up. I invented products and sold, products that you might even own. I've, sold to Sharp Image and Walmart and Sam's and Williams-Sonoma and all these places. And one of the things I remembered is the first year I went to a trade show, a couple $100,000 in orders. The next year, same thing. Third year, the orders died off. And I was with my partner. I'm like, man, what's going on? Are we going out of business? He goes, we already have all the customers. They just see us now at the trade shows. So the dynamics shift, right? Because you have to stay top of mind. And so that's one thing you're doing really well. I mean, you highly encourage that. Hopefully, if you have any new emerging franchisees, that they really understand how to do that. Do you ever shadow them to see how they present the Lunch and Learn?
A lot of times, we'll do the drop-offs with them. And then the Lunch and Learn script is very similar to some of our sales script. So it's about 80% similar to how we would educate a new client on what we do. So it's not too hard.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah. And so you've got centers of influence. What about
the others are our trade shows?
What's that?
We do like home shows, boat shows, farmers markets, events like that.
Okay. Do the franchisees get branded materials? Obviously,
Correct.
Can they buy the booth or the tent or whatever they're going to use?
So when they sign up, we send them all the booth, the tent, the setup, everything. So the banners, the tablecloths, everything.
Yeah. One of the things I found is, it's even me, because I've been doing trade shows and trade show marketing for decades. And, the ones that really are successful, what I've done at booths, like I'll be at the International Franchise Association in our industry. It's IFA. I'll be there in February. Right. If you're going to be there, come by and say hi.
My wife and I'll both be there. So
well, certainly come by. I think I'm in booth 1116 or something, but anyway, you'll find me on the directory. It's just a 10 by 10 booth, but I always have balloons. And what's interesting is even though I only have a 10-foot booth, I always put some helium balloons on. And what that does is, and they're not even customized balloons. I should do that this year, but all it does is it lets them see me when the people are looking for what aisle they're at and what booth they are. Trade shows are a great way. What about your Google business reviews? Have you done really well on helping your franchisees claim them and enhance them?
Yes. So as far as our GMBs, we're super obsessive about reviews. And so we outtrain almost everybody. So like in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Michigan, Arizona, we're the top ranked on Google for the state. Fantastic. So for most of our areas, because dog training is really more mom and pop. It's not, there's not much corporate influence at all. So when we come in and actually have standards and, hey, wear a collared shirt. Wow. Don't wear yoga pants and sweatpants. Use branded materials. Don't like people are still selling $4,000 boot camps with printer paper. They're printing off their stuff at home. They're tri-folding it themselves. And they're still like in Denver, they're selling $4,000 and $5,000 boot camps with that. I mean, the competition's not there. Obviously, it's coming. Wherever there's big profit, competitors always come in, right? Yeah. So that's just that's a given. Right now, when we do our booths, we put dogs out front. And that's we have a bright yellow booth with dogs out front. We make them bark until normally we get warnings at the shows.
Right.
And that draws a lot of attention.
That's really cool. One of the things I talk about when it comes to reviews, and I do this for all different types of brands, not just franchise brands, is to look for the happiness moment. The best time to get a review is, if I do work for a client or if I do a keynote workshop or they buy something and they're like, hey, this was really great. That's the time where I say, hey, would you mind leaving us a Google review? And the other thing I do is I grab my cell phone. I don't know where the hell it is right here. I take my cell phone out right away. Like every time I'm done speaking at an event, like for example, I just spoke at Lawn Doctor. And when I got done, everybody comes up and says, oh, this was such a great event. I'm like, hey, can I capture that to share with my team? So it's a two-step process. First statement is, hey, can I capture that to share with my team?
That's awesome.
Then it reduces their anxiety about, I don't say, hey, can I take this and blast it all over Facebook and LinkedIn? I just say, hey, can I take this and share it with my team? And then once I've got the review, then I say, Ryan, that was great. Do you mind if I share it? Once they've recorded it, they don't mind. So Google reviews is one I do. And then also anytime you have video testimonials, because in your business, I mean, you know, as you know, very more than I would, even though I've been a dog owner my whole life, you know, people treat their dogs like kids. I mean, mine's a fur baby.
Do.
I mean, it is my kid. I don't have kids anymore. So this is my child. Right. And so I invest a lot. Like I take her to daycare 3 times a week. I have the farmer's dog. I'd love to know what your take is on food, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But going back to the reviews, I think it's really important for any business to make sure you capture your Google business review, claim it, enhance it, whether you're a franchisee or a franchisor, obviously a franchisor, and then make sure that the franchisee or the local business is really active on social media for the things that they understand. I mean, you can't manage, you can manage at the national level, but you can't manage the relationships in the community with the vets and the dog groomers. And that's really what they need to do. But I know they're probably busy wearing many hats.
Yeah. And like I said, we try to take a lot of those hats for them.
Right.
Right. We try to take a lot of those hats for them. And then the people who do the Dream 100, they do the drop-offs to try to find 100 community partners. And that's a stretch. But if they look for 100, they'll find at least, 40, 50 good ones. They're normally doing the best. Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say, there's this crazy dog stat, right? 2014 study. They hook up all these moms' brains and they show them a picture of their kid and they show them a picture of their dog and the brain lights up the same.
I would believe it. Like I mean, so I'm a dog person. My wife, she had a rescue cat before I had the dog, between my lab died and got a new dog. And so I was whining and complaining. Some people would say I was kind of bitching a little bit. I'm like, I want a dog. I want a dog. And she's like, so for my birthday a year ago, she came home with this little Labradoodle and just the sweetest thing dog. I mean, but so much energy. And I really knew I needed the training. And I think that that's really the key is it's the consistency and the discipline. And again, I know we're talking about business, but it's about the customer experience. It's not like I offloaded the training to the trainer. I did that as the baseline, but then I also went to several classes to learn how to actually leverage the training and make it stick. And now it's just great. I mean, she sits when I would tell her to sit. She's down when I tell her to sit down. I mean, she stays. She doesn't always retrieve as much. I haven't worked with her as much on that to come to me when I want her, because she's like, when I let her outside, she's got so much energy. But so we got Google Business, you got Centers of Influence. What else are you doing to help accelerate? Do you have any type of, like, if they do a training, what's an average investment for someone to spend with one of your franchisees?
Yeah, so our average sale is about $2,400. So we do like the $3,000 to $6,000 boot camps too.
All right, so you do the boot camps and you do that. And then is there any ongoing or any supplemental service that you're doing to generate revenue for your franchisees?
So most of ours is really one
and done
stop shops. Yeah. Once that dog is fixed, we do lifetime group classes for continuing education, and they normally come 3 to 6 months. But then, like, you're going to find if the trainer's good, at some point you shouldn't need him anymore.
Right.
It's not like the personal trainer where you kind of need to keep going all the time. Yeah.
What about a service dog training? I know that one of the things that the local place that I took my dog at Chisholm Creek, what they did is they had the basic and level 2, and then they had like advanced obedience classes, service dog training. Is that something that's even a need? I didn't do that, but
so about 90% of the pet training spend is all on that general obedience. So we're focusing on where the money actually is. The other thing is that extra insurance needs for service dog. Yeah. Or like protection training, all those have extra insurance needs or extra training requirements. And a lot of our guys, like 2 of our newest locations in Idaho and Austin, they're on 3 to 4 week wait list right now. Wow. And they've been open less than a year. So most of them, they don't need extra products.
Right.
We have a guy in Myrtle Beach. He's been open for a year and his ads are still at the absolute minimum because he just, he stays busy.
Right. No, that's great. Well, the best, I always tell our organizations that, the best market in the world won't overcome poor service. And if you deliver great service, people always, when organizations think about hiring me, I'm like, look, you don't have a marketing problem. You have a customer experience problem. Look at your Google reviews. Look at your online presence. I mean, you've got to fix that first. And they get a little offended at first because they're like, well, we want you for marketing. I'm like, look, I don't want to drive more business to an organization that isn't taking care of their customers, right? And so that customer experience is always such a huge thing. What I really like about what you guys have done is, you've really leaned into the franchise model, which is, you're not, I know there's a fine line between, them being, independent franchisees and, all that. But I think that it's really important for a business owner to have the support that you're giving them, the systems, the marketing, the training, all the things that they don't have to think about, so they can really focus. I mean, that's the power of focus is so important for an entrepreneur, just so that they can stay focused on delivering the value, taking care of the dogs and doing the training, but then also looking at how they can leverage their local, relationships in the community. Beyond groomers and vets, have you found any other centers of influence?
Not giant ones. I will say we share the clientele of like a higher end personal fitness trainer, though. We have had some where if I train or one of our locations trains a fitness individual's dog, like a trainer or owner of a gym, and they have that dog out there doing stays for hours at the gym, we get a lot of referral and repeat. So there's those type people, or the niche, almost like if we have someone at a med spa, right? And they have the owner with the dog at the med spa or the personal training. Those are similar to our, higher end clientele.
Yeah, just being visible, right? That's really the key. What's your plans for growing? I mean, you've got 20. How long have you been franchising now?
Since 2019.
Okay, so a few years. What is your plans for growth? And now, just to be clear, I don't think that all brands have to grow. I think that there's something called diversification and diversification. I know I had a sporting goods company. I had $50 million. I had 140 employees. And I thought, well, I'm so smart, I'm going to go into these other markets. And I lost a lot of money. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just curious, what are your growth plans going forward?
Well, so we've been picky on growing. Like we have an initial training program that's 6 weeks long, where we go 10 hours a day for 6 weeks, 6 days a week. So that vets a lot of people out. Like when I take Fran Dev calls, and I still do a lot of the Fran Dev myself, because we want to be picky and we don't want to grow super aggressively. We're looking to move to 40 and at 40 and then 40 locations in the next 2 years, because we support all of those.
Right.
So after 40, then we need to start making call center software changes. Right.
And
I'm looking at different, the call center has to, the dynamic has to change. And then, we'll go from there, but that's our current goal. So the goal was, 20 and pausing, everything's rocking and rolling good there. Everyone's doing good. And we had multiple locations by a second or third. And then we just started ramping up Fran Dev again.
Well, I think it's really important. The franchise brands that are successful, and I work with, I interview a lot of the CEOs, and I ask them, the ones that are successful, the ones that really take the time to find the right fit for their family of franchisees, to make sure that they have the personality, the competence, the passion, and that they really do care, not that just they have the money. I know a lot of franchise brands, franchisees, they're multi-unit owners, or they're multi-brand owners. So sometimes they're hands off, a private equity group or something, where they're just trying to invest in businesses. And, I've seen a lot of people fail like that. I mean, I had one strategic client who just wanted to get to 100 units so he could flip it. And I'm like, I kept saying, look, you've got to get some good franchisees. And, he really struggled until he learned the hard way by losing lots of money and lots of franchisees. They oversold territories. They underserved. I mean, just all the classic mistakes that obviously you guys aren't making. So, just anybody out there in business, whether you're a franchisee or not, having clear systems, because really everybody's strong in one of three areas, Ryan. So you're either really good at delivering the product or service, which obviously you had a passion and you said, I got to fix this. And you didn't find a need and fill it. You found a want and fill it. I think the quickest way to bankruptcy is to find a need and fill it. People don't do what they need. They do what they want. Right. So I always look at, how can I find a want? Number two, they have to be skilled at marketing and sales. Are they interested in hunting and farming to go out and hunt new business and then take care of their current customers? And then number three, operational success. Can they lead and manage a business? Do they understand the economics of profitability? And it doesn't matter if you sell it under your your profit, if you lose money, you can't make it up on volume, right?
Right.
So really one of those three. Where would you say what your strength was? I mean, between those three, were you really marketing and sales, or were you really? I know you delivered the product, so let's put a checkbox in that. More operational or more marketing?
Marketing and sales.
Yeah. That was
sales
mine too.
Yeah.
And the challenge I had was I was really great at growing a business, but I wasn't so good at the time of running the business. So I would hire fast and fire slow. I would be inconsistent with the systems. And that's really why I leaned into franchising when I finally found that model and really understood it, because I was making all the classic mistakes, and the same mentality that got me to 10 million in my sporting goods business wouldn't take me to 50 million. Right. So I had to have whole new leadership involved, and I had to understand balance sheets and income statements and cash flows and ratios and all the different things that I knew of, but I'm like, I don't really care. How much money do I have in my bank? I'm okay. Right. So I really had to learn that the hard way. What would you say to people in business that's really important that you look for in a franchisee?
So I'll tell you what we don't want to see. How about that? Some people are like, they immediately talk about what they can add, what they can do. The people that are strikingly artistic, probably not going to work. One of our best location owners was an HVAC technician, right? He was a heating and air technician, and no one in his family had ever owned a business ever. But you know what he did? He worked 5 or 6 days a week, 10-hour days, sometimes 12 when it's cold and when it's hot. So when we give him the systems, he does it. That's the type of person that we're really looking for. One of the guys just bought a location in Bentonville. He was a Starbucks manager. Right? He managed a Starbucks. Okay. No college, not needed. No sales experience. We filled that gap. But you know what he did have? He's got the hustle muscle. Really, that's what I need. I need the hustle muscle and a passion for dogs. Because if you want to make lots of money, but you don't love dogs, this business will not work. The clients will sniff you out.
Yep.
We will sniff you out, and it will not work. No one's going to spend $4,000 with someone if they aren't convinced that they like dogs.
That is so true. Yeah. I know that,
like, you sit down, they're giving you a good experience, right? They're a good brand.
You know, I always look at people, you know, when I look at employees now, I hire slow and fire fast. And I look at what are the characteristics that I want for that position, whether it's a business owner or whether it's, you know, an internal employee. And I look at what's the personality that I want. And then I really make sure that I interview them. We use assessments and things just to help us get an extra edge on their personality. The ones that always worry me are the ones who think they know everything and don't know what they don't know. They're not a critical thinker. They're not open-minded, and they're not coachable. And, you know, I've had people come to me and say, oh, here's, you know, they pat their chest on how successful they've been and how great they've been on whatever role they're in. And I always go, you know, I'd rather hire for attitude and train for skills than just because you've got the accolades. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? I don't want to fight you along the way on everything that we're doing and have a challenge there. So I seriously get that. What is something that you might have done that maybe was a fumble? Maybe you tried it and it didn't work so well.
Yeah. So I got two things coming to mind real quick. One is originally I gave everyone like a 20-page document on how to order from all these 50 different vendors. Like, hey, here's how to order everything you need from every different vendor. And all that did is give me 1 million phone calls.
Yep.
Right. Give our team 1 million phone calls. So then we made it to where everyone can order from us. We order deep discount and sell wholesale. That didn't work. Even if it was step by step, like very linear, because they're busy, right? They're busy. And they're a new business owner. The other thing was really back to digital marketing. Since we use outside firms, originally a big fumble was not externally auditing them.
Right.
That's
true.
So now we externally audit our firms once or twice a year. Normally once a year. If we get any complaints whatsoever, then we run a second one.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. I run a digital marketing agency on top of my speaking business at primeconcepts.com. So, you know, when I go out and speak on digital marketing, obviously someone in the room will say, hey, can you just do it? So we do full brand makeovers and digital marketing, pay-per-click, all the different things. separate from my speaking business that I go out and speak on business growth. And I always, when I'm working with a new CEO or a new owner, I always tell them, look, what are your key performance indicators? How are you going to measure success? And they're like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, well, what did you do in the past? Well, I just paid $1,500 a month for 6 months to my agency, and they were supposed to do something. I just had a call. I won't name the name for the person maybe watching this episode, but I just had a call with her. She was spending $1,500 a month. That's why it was top of mind for 6 months on search engine optimization. And it was a small boutique here in Wichita, Kansas. And I went to their website, and you can do this on any website. If you just go to a website and type in the word site, and then the website. So you could put site, tiptalkcanine.com, and that's going to show you all the pages that you have indexed in Google. So anybody can do this, site, and your domain, and it'll tell you. And it also shows you your page titles and your meta descriptions. And so all her pages said home, services, about there was no keywords. It wasn't geocoded to Wichita. There wasn't anything. And I said to her, I showed her this, we were doing a Zoom call, and I shared the screen, and she almost started crying. And I said, look, I'm sorry. She said, but this was the second firm I paid. And, the problem is the owners don't know what they don't know. So I think the audits are really important. I think if anybody out here is listening to this, if you work with any agency, what are the key performance indicators? Get monthly reports, hold them accountable. Even if you don't know how to read all the reports, make them go through the hoops of giving you the reports, because one, you should be looking at them anyway. But two, the problem is some of those agencies, they grow so big and they offshoot it to a minimum wage employee who doesn't have the expertise, and then they don't do the work. And so you're paying a premium, but you're getting a subpar experience.
Yeah. So what I normally do is just go to, an agency like yours and say, hey, how much $1,000, $1,500 flat rate can I get? And I'm not going to use your service. Normally I just tell them straight up, hey, I'm not going to use your service. I just want an audit. I want to know what you think. I want your opinion. And then I want it in a Loom video format.
Yep.
Explaining everything.
Yeah, I do that. I do that now. We do a lot of digital footprint critiques. They can actually find one. I didn't plan on mentioning it, but if they go to primeconcepts.com, there's a lead magnet, which in business, you guys should all know what a lead magnet is. It's giving something of value in exchange for their contact information. Not to be solicited, don't worry. But if you go to primeconcepts.com, it's in the top corner, somewhere at the top, where it'll say get a free digital critique. And on that critique, we typically do it via Zoom, and we record it where we share the screen and we go through all the different things that they need to do. And one, that's a great way to build relationships, build trust and credibility, because now we've delivered value. And then it makes it a lot easier for when they say, okay, send me a proposal, because they already know what we've done. So that's a great thing to do, is get the audits. And really, if you have anything you do. So another topic, I'm going to switch gears. Thank you for your time for today. I'm just curious now, since, we're into 2025, what are you guys doing, if anything, with AI? I'm just curious.
So we're not doing a ton with it. I know one. So the dog training, as far as like the service industry,
right?
There's not a huge impact. Now, one thing, as far as like running off our call center, we're looking at software that cues off of keywords. And this is what we're looking at. This is about a year and a half out, where when they say, hey, I have an aggressive dog, hey, I'm in this location, hey, they follow the script and they ask their zip code, that it listens and auto-populates, this is the area that we'll schedule to. This is based off the area, do they handle aggressive dogs? And so I can train my reps faster, and stuff pops up on their screen in live time. So that's where we're looking to use AI currently. It's a little bit of a process.
All right. So here's some quick ideas for you, Ryan, and your team, as a thank you for being here today. One thing I would do is set up a custom GPT. So if you're using ChatGPT, it's $20. You can get your own account for $20. You can get a team account for $25. But what I want you to do is I want you to get a sales and marketing dictionary. So I want you to go and take all of your sales materials, all your training materials, all these different things you've done, and upload the documents into a custom GPT. You can have as many custom GPTs as you want. You can have a custom GPT to how to answer Google reviews. You can have a custom GPT to how to make cold introductions to centers of influence. So all these things that you're currently doing, have a custom GPT. That's going to help your internal team create more content and communication. you can do the same thing for customer experience. There's you can, with all the AI bots right now, AI large language models like Copilot, Gemini, Nova, which is the new Amazon one, ChatGPT, and Claude and Anthropic. You can create custom settings, and what you can do is you can do what's called conversational AI, which is it'll scale your customer service people up to speed faster. So I'm a strategic partner, full disclosure, in a company called Replay.Sale. It's just one of these. It's an AI company that came to me, and they're trying to do AI like a million other companies, right?
Right.
But what they do is they sell a service where you can train the virtual AI bot to be your company, and then your franchisees could use it to train up to speed. Your customer service people can do it. So you can do it now. You could just go to Google and say, I'm a customer service agent for tiptopk9.com. I get these. I want you to role play as a potential customer. It'll do it right now. Like, you can do this now, and it's voice. You can even grab your phone, and if you have a mobile, if you have ChatGPT on your phone, you can literally talk to it. I don't know if you've ever done this, but let's just see if it works.
I haven't actually talked to it.
Hey, I'm on a live broadcast right now with Ryan Wimpey. He's the CEO and founder of tiptalkk9.com. Say hi to him for me.
Hello, Ryan Wimpey. It's great to have you on the broadcast. I hope the discussion is going well.
So can you tell him how he could use conversational AI to role play with his customer experience people?
Sure. Ryan, you can leverage conversational AI to create interactive role-playing scenarios for your customer experience team. This helps them practice handling various customer interactions and improves their skills in a controlled, supportive environment. It can also provide instant feedback and track progress over time.
Okay, tell him thank you. I got to get back to the broadcast.
Got it. Good luck with the rest of your broadcast.
So
that's
literally,
amazing.
You can be your AI assistant to help you. So I use it with everything. I help review contracts, vendor contracts, vendor agreements, cold outreach, warm outreach, direct mail. What's that?
Made that one yourself? You made that yourself and uploaded?
Yeah. Well, that's just ChatGPT. I didn't do anything with that.
Oh, okay.
It's just trained. It knows who I am. So because I've been using it, I can just say, hey, do you know who I am?
Yes, you're Ford Saeks, a business growth accelerator, Hall of Fame keynote speaker, and author.
Okay, I got it. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you need anything else, just let me know.
So I'm going to encourage you to get ChatGPT on your phone, Ryan. Download it, get logged in. There's two things you have to do. Number one, go into your privacy settings, and you can change it so that none of your information is used to train the AI model. Number two, you can set up a custom GPT, which again, I've got a video. If you're interested, I can show you. It's a free video I use online. It's at profitrichresults.com/AI-training. So it's my website that's on the screen /AI-training. But you can go there for free, and it's a 60-minute video. But as a franchisor and the founder, going forward, I know that the individual franchisees aren't necessarily going to use it, but there are things they can use it for if they answer their own Google reviews, if they need to know what to say to follow up with center of influence, or if they're trying to do a direct email campaign to their top 100 to get their center of influence to take for lunch and learn. Like, it can help you improve all that, and you can upload all of your standard documents so that it actually models what you have done with approved and through compliance. So I'm just saying, every episode I'm doing right now, I'm mentioning that. And if you are interested in a free book, I know the listeners won't be able to get this. They can get them on Amazon, but just email me your contact information and I'll send out a book. I'll send out a book.
That is an awesome hack, my friend. That is excellent.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I've had thousands of employees over my lifetime, and what I'm seeing with AI and the training part of it and the consistency and doing the things, it just makes me more efficient because, we're all wearing so many different hats. We're all trying to do different things, whether it's working with our internal team or our external teams. And the power of AI, You know, it's not a replacement for the human touch. That's why my book says, you know, keep the human touch. But there are times in your customer journey. So if you map out your customer journey from a suspect, you know, to a prospect, to a qualified lead, to a customer, and then all the way to an advocate, and then you look at your internal team and you look at all the roles of everybody's role. And the other great thing is it's multilingual and multimodal. So it can see, it can hear, it can speak. I typically speak to it like you saw me do. I just get in my car and turn it on, and I have a conversation. I can say, act as Ryan Wimpey, the CEO of tiptopcanine.com, and a little tongue twister there. And if it knew who you were, I could actually have a conversation with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just crazy, but certainly want to make your eyes open to what the potential is. Obviously, for the service you're doing, it's not going to help with the providing the service, but all the communication, all the understanding, the vendor agreements, analyzing large data, and helping you understand your average transaction, your, you know, which markets are working, because it can do any math and it can do anything. So I just encourage you to look at AI, and those of you listening for sure, to use AI. Any closing thoughts you have? Thank you for that time you've given me today. Any closing thoughts you'd have to share with our listeners?
Oh, no. Thanks for having me on, Ford. And I look forward to that book, man. That's excellent. I'm excited about the book. I think as far as specifically sales role play, that's one area where I didn't actually think of using AI.
Oh my God.
Because we
great.
sales role play, absolutely, nonstop. So we already have tons of documents.
So here's a curious. So it's my episode. I can keep it going. So I'm just going to do this. Hey, I want you to role play with me on, I own a local tiptopcanine.com dog training business. I have local dog owners who are interested in using my services, and I want you to simulate a possible sales call, and I want you to act as a customer, and then I'm going to go ahead and sell. Do you understand?
Absolutely. Let's do it. I'll act as a potential customer interested in dog training services. Ready when you are.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, so what type of issues are you having with Fluffy, your Labradoodle?
Okay, one more time.
So what types of issues are you having with Fluffy, your Labradoodle?
All right,
that brings me here.
Let me do it this way because it couldn't, since my microphone's over here. All right, hang on a second, AI. All right, we're going to do this again. Let's see if we can do this. He's going to go ahead and ask a question, and then you act as the customer. Okay? Or you act as the agent. He's going to act as the customer.
Got it. Let's try it this way. I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, so I have some issues with my dog. He's running away, jumping, and pulling on the leash. Can you fix those things?
Absolutely. We offer specialized training programs that can help address all those issues. How old is your dog?
He's about a year old.
That's a great age to start training. We can definitely help with obedience and leash manners. Would you like to schedule a consultation?
Yeah, but what's the prices?
Our training packages vary depending on your dog's needs. Typically, sessions start around $100 each. We also have package deals. Would you be interested in hearing more about those?
I think so. What about payment plans, or do you offer group classes?
Yes, we do offer payment plans and have group classes available. Would you like more details on those options?
All right, thank you for the role play.
That's awesome.
Now, keep in mind, Ryan, if you trained it
absolutely.
If you trained it, then it's going to answer. And so you can have your salespeople make sales calls to ChatGPT right now today. You can do this today. You don't need anything else.
Absolutely.
Set up the custom GPT and tell it all the comment. Like one of the things I do when I do sales training is like if you hired me to do sales training, the first thing I would do is I'd go to AI and I'd say, I have a dog training franchise. I want you to list all the top objections that people have about dog training. And then I want you to give me the overturn. And so it's going to give me all the objections and all the overturns. And then I'm going to say, now give me the answers to those overturns for the different personality styles. So dominant, influential, whatever.
Right.
And so now if you have a salesperson that really understands sales, this can double and triple your sales because now they know what to say. Like someone like me, I'm a dominant type A. Like you just need to tell me how much is it going to cost? When do I take my dog? Like I don't need to know if I believe in you and I trust you. Just tell me where to take the dog and I'm writing the check. Now my wife is going to read everything. She's highly educated, lots of degrees. She's going to read all the fine print and all the terms. And I don't give a crap about that stuff. But having your salespeople understand how to adapt to the different prospects will help your sales go up and also help your franchisees too. So I would look at conversational training, start with ChatGPT, and then check out replay.sale.
Ford, you're the man. That's awesome.
So, whoops, she's talking to me again. Hang on. All right. So hopefully you got a tip from being here too, right?
Yeah, I definitely did. This is great. Great interview.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We are live, everybody, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central. And I'm going to play the outro. Stick around to the end and we'll say our goodbyes.
Thank you for tuning in to Fortify Live. Make sure to like, comment, and share this episode on your favorite social media platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the Business Growth Show podcast, available wherever you get your podcast streaming fix. We air weekly at 11 a.m. Central Time. So until next week, keep pushing the boundaries and never stop growing.